Introverts report having less romantic relationships than extroverts. And one of the reasons for that is because they often take more time in forming meaningful relationships. And they don't feel as comfortable in social settings where most people meet and fall in love. And that's why online dating can be a great fit for introverts. Rather than having to shout over loud music at a social gathering or a bar, which is an introvert's nightmare, introverts can browse potential matches from the comfort of their own home. And they can take their time writing messages to the people that they connect with online, which is perfect for those of us who like to think and process before we write or speak. But that doesn't necessarily make online dating fun or easy for introverts. So in this video, I'm going to give you a guide to online dating, and you're going to learn how to make it more enjoyable and far less draining. So first, let's define introversion. And I love the definition by Susan Cain, who's the author of Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. She also has a fantastic TED Talk, if you haven't seen it yet, about introverts and their power. So there's a big difference between being shy or having social anxiety and being an introvert. And Susan Cain says that shyness is about the fear of social judgment. That was me most of my life. So I was afraid to speak in public because I was afraid of being judged. I was afraid to really even let a guy know that I liked him because I was afraid of being judged. So it was more about judgment, social judgment. And then what's social anxiety? That's the fear of being in a social situation. When you have social anxiety, you can get really sweaty in public. Lots of things happen. If you're working in a very loud environment, you can get very shut down, very drained. Introversion is more about the preference for environments where there's less going on. So they tend to enjoy quiet concentration. They listen more than they talk. They think before they speak, and they have a much more cautious approach to risk. They also tend to focus on what really matters, which are relationships and meaningful work. Introverts get recharged in quiet. This is, to me, the most important thing in Susan Cain's definition of introversion, while extroverts get recharged in stimulating environments. So an introvert needs to have alone time. When they have too much stimulation, they need to be alone and recharge, maybe read a book, watch a show. Extroverts love being out in public in a social situation, in a stimulating environment. That's how they get their energy. And that's why when you're an introvert, you can get drained in the dating process unless you practice self-care. So here is an introvert's guide to online dating. The first thing is to manage your time so you don't get burned out. And what I mean by that is that your time is really valuable. And when you are spending a lot of time with a new person, you can get burnt out. So that means that phone calls should be kept short in the beginning if you're an introvert and you get burnt out from a lot of stimulation. First dates should be kept short for the most part because you're going to get so burnt out and it's going to be hard to come back from that. Take care of you. So manage your time so you don't get burnt out. The second thing that's really important for introverts is to take time to recharge after phone calls, after dates. You've got to have that alone time. And I've had clients who are introverts who never took care of the recharge part, and they were always feeling depleted. And so when we started working together and we identified that she was an introvert and she needed her alone time, she was in a relationship and she had a conversation with a guy that she had been dating. They were going to go away together. And I said, you need to have a conversation before you go away. And you need to talk about what you need. So she talked to him about her alone time. She said, I'm going to need some time during the day and just to go back to the hotel or take some time taking a walk. It's not personal. It's not about you. It's about me. I need to recharge. And then you get curious about what do they need to do to feel their best. And so this is how you have a collaborative conversation. Often introverts and extroverts date each other and they're good matches because they bring out different qualities in each other, but you have to learn to manage it. And so I remember hearing Susan Cain in person. She was talking about her husband, who's an extrovert. And she would get in the car with him and he'd have the radio up super loud and she'd turn it down and he'd turn it up. And so they had to navigate things like that. And also going to parties, they started taking separate cars because he loved being there and she would get burnt out after a short period of time. Also, when you're at a party or a social situation as a person dating or looking for a date, an introvert needs to find somebody to have a meaningful conversation with them. So find the person that you can have that quiet conversation with, even in a louder setting. That seems to work really well, I know, for me and for other introverts. The next tip is don't be an onion. And what I mean by that is if you're the type of introvert who needs to take a lot of time to reveal your full personality, and I used to be this way, and it's like, oh, when they get to know me they're going to love me. Well, dating is not going to give you that luxury of lots of time because the first impression is the most important. And so I want you to bring more of your personality to those first few dates, and the way to do it is to master the art of small talk by making small talk more meaningful. So you're going to prepare some conversations that you're going to have so that you can bring more of your whole self to the dating process. And that is a way to take small talk and not make it exhausting, but make it more meaningful so that you enjoy your dates and make sure to manage the time, recharge yourself when you get home, take time to be quiet so that you can enjoy the dating process. And if you follow all these tips, I can pretty much guarantee that you're going to enjoy the online dating process. You're going to enjoy the dating process so that you can find your last first date.